and take a look at 300. And we're going to take a look at 300.45 on page 145. And we're on page 3-4 of chapter 3. Now, this is the installation chapter, isn't it? That we kind of talked about the very first 4 hours of the course. Now, this comes from Z535.4, this information here. And when we put up a red danger sign, then we're saying if not avoided, could result in death or serious injury. See, death. Warning is orange. And notice, if not avoided, it just could result in death or serious. Don't say it. It will. It said it could. And then signaling here is yellow. And notice, again, it says if not avoided, may result in minor or moderate injury. And then we have a blue that deals with you got water, wet, damp, places like that. See, but here sometimes we'll have a warning sign, a yellow sign that says, yeah, now, we got a signal here to you. If you go further, you may get in this warning area. If you go any further, you're in the danger. So we may have 3 signs here. We know that 205.3 goes in and start addressing that. If you have your 70E, kicking you back over to 130. So we kind of pick that information up, but we can go to this Z535.4 and we can get some information about signage that we might want to use. And now over here, any high voltage system, and I listed all of them. This is all your sections here that deal with it. Danger, high voltage, keep out. Danger, high voltage, authorized personnel only. Right there. 70B here, 70E here, section 3 and 79. So we kind of pick that up and then we give you these sections are important. Now this, we have to put on the equipment, warn you of electrical arc if that could happen. And you engineers can correct me, but we usually do that on all equipment. And in some cases that could present or produce more than a 2nd degree burn if an arc developed. But remember, there's specific pieces of equipment mentioned here that what's required. And it's just additionally what we might want to do if we put it elsewhere. And then 110.21b is your field identification of a label. 70E here, now the owner of the equipment has to put this on. The installer and engineering designer puts this, requires this. And then we go over to Z535 and we get some information about what we might want to put on the label, to that. If you have our 70E workbook, then, we give you a number of labels in there. Not that you need that, but we give you a number of labels there that could be used. So these are systems that are over 1,000 volts. All cables here now are now in Article 311. And you're going to have, I like the way that they did this. I really do. They have cables in free air. Those tables will take care of those cables. You have cables in raceway systems in free air. You have cables that offer raceways inside the building or in the ground, and they're all in order so that you can go to them and you're not running through there trying to find a table that would give you the ampacity. And in course, right up at the front of Article 311, the engineers can design the ampacity if they want to on a cable run in high voltage. We already given you that table and looked at it, or section in 1,000 volts or less. So we kind of picked that up. Now, the switch gear and your components, circuits, etc., fuses, circuit breakers, what you're going to make up your protective scheme is in Article 490. And that's pretty well how that's laid out. Medium voltage now, that used to be in Article 328 is now at the very front of the Article 311. and then the information is there, and some of it revised and clarified for us, so that we kind of read it the same. And so again, we could have this main here. This instrumentation now has to have its own barrier now, so that I can get in there and do things, not be exposed down here. See, and we know that 7D allows that. And then here we could have a barrier, and we'd have those mains, couldn't we? 230.71b, 1 through 4. So we kind of picked that up. And so this is a revision about the warning. Sometimes we will have that warning on a door leading into a room where high voltage systems are. Maybe a vault that we have. We'll put a warning on there. Just trying to warn the people. Now, notice these markings, though, that one of these hazardous conditions, we have effective words, large enough you can read. The warning words should be large so that they really send the message to the person reviewing them. And then symbols. We can use symbols to notify you of the danger. And then any kind of combination in relation to 110.21b. They're on page 49 of your code book. And then here's your danger signs. They must be readily visible, not hid. They should be visible to where you move a cover. For example, if we're going into a substation, and let's look at it this way, and once you all your and IEEE, chapter 1, you guys that deal with the utilities, if we have the insulated parts or uninsulated parts, if they're elevated up above reach, then we can just have a warning sign on is all danger signs are all we need, because once we go in there, we don't need nothing else. But say that you have a situation where you enter through the gate, and then you have components that are over 1,000 volts that would be lower than the elevation required by chapter 1 and of IEEE National Electrical Safety Code, then you'd have a warning on this gate, but you'd have another fenced in area around that equipment that had danger, wouldn't you? And those signs are there. Then look at it another way. Say you had this equipment, and when you removed this cover, you had to remove another cover, then you'd have a warning here. But the cover that you removed, and you'd have direct access into those exposed components and conductors energized, then you'd have your danger sign on that, wouldn't you? You say, oh no, once I remove that cover, I'm right in there with that stuff, then your danger sign would be here. But you find that over here in Z535, don't you? That's where you'd find that information. So with that thought in mind, then we're going to move on. And this revision is just dealing with warning rules and signage.